Hey everybody out there in rollerblading, this is Sam Miller. Today I'd like to talk to you about something very important to me, something that's changed in the last few years that I think the new blood doesn't really understand that's going on in rollerblading. Before the advent of the internet and YouTube, if rollerbladers wanted to see a good section, they had to buy a skate video. Most of the time you'd watch that skate video over and over and over and over and over again until the point where the tape actually wore off. And a lot of the youth nowadays don't really see that anymore. But nowadays, with the internet, people are putting out sections as often as they want. And the whole idea of the skate video is kind of going the way of the dinosaur. So I decided to do something that Dave Payne used to preach about back in VG20, getting to know your roots. So for this, I've decided to compile a top 10 list of sections in rollerblading of all time. Before we get on to the list, there are a couple ground rules I need to lay out in order for you to understand how this list was compiled. Rule number 1. None of the sections in this list came after 2005. The reason for this is because the average lifespan of a rollerblader is approximately 5 years, because certain things happen in our lives. Number 1, we grow up. Number 2, we go to college. Number 3, we find a girlfriend. Whatever it is, we usually end up not lasting more than 5 years. And it probably explains why I've been doing it for almost a dozen years. Rule number 2. There is only one section per skater in this list. You will not see multiples of one guy in any part of this list whatsoever. Rule number 3. And this is mainly a warning to those out there who are putting together sections or editing them as we speak. It's called the aesthetic value. You can have a rollerblader going out nailing some crazy tricks, but it's also a responsibility of the editor to put together a great section through editing and music selection. If there's one thing I've noticed going on in rollerblading sections as of late, it is the poor quality of editing and music selection going on in these sections. It's one thing to have the responsibility on the rollerblader to bust out some crazy tricks. It's also important that the editor puts together a great section, thus putting the icing on the cake of a great rollerblader. Video editing and music selection are two very important aspects in making a video section, and it can make or break an entire skate video if you're not careful. Too much love too. But that's besides the point. It's that rare combination of great skating, superior editing, and excellent music selection that make these video sections stand out. With that being said, let's get on to the list. But first, the honorable mentions. Honorable mention number 1, Ian McLeod, Sell Your Soul to Roll. This one makes the honorable mention list because not only was the music sick, the editing was well suited for Ian's style. Ian is known for his technical switch-ups, and he delivers in this section. Plus, he had a sick ender. Honorable mention number 2, Jason Marshall, VG4. And just look at the backslides he's pulling off on these rails. People would kill to have the kind of balance Marshall has in this section. Plus, he introduces the negative mistrial to rollerblading. Mad props to Dave Payne on making this edit. Honorable mention number 3, Richard Johnson, Future of Rollerblading 2. Joe Navarron's crowning achievement was bringing Richard Johnson to the forefront of rollerblading. Richard dominated the scene in 2000 and skated with authority rarely seen in rollerblading. He had spot-on style and a finesse reminiscent of Kelvin Gillen. And now the top 10 list. Number 10, Mike Johnson, Ego. Razor's second Pro Team video showcased some of the best skating ever filmed, and Murder set the bar for all followers to attempt to reach. Crazy switch-ups on ledges and rails, he made it all look effortless. Factor in Adam Johnson's Red Hue theme, it only accentuated Murda's killing of all the spots he visited. Plus his ender is one of the greatest ever filmed. Number 9, Chris Farmer, VG19. Chris Farmer and VG19 set a couple of standards in rollerblading for the next few years. Crazy spin tricks, technical switch-ups, and baggy sweatpants. The whole section is a clinic on almost every possible trick. After this section dropped, the style of rollerblading changed completely. For the next few years, everybody was wearing baggy pants and clothes and doing crazy switch-ups whenever they could. Number 8, Brian Aragon, Bang. What can you say about Brian Aragon that hasn't been said already? The guy spins, switches up, and gaps cleaner than anybody before or since. The music is so good and the editing is so spot on. Props to Coburn and Company for this masterpiece. Also, Aragon's section in Bang has one of the most memorable enders out there to date. Number 7. Alex Broskow, Noir. This is Broskow's defining moment. There isn't a filler trick in the entire section. Everything he does is a mix of insane stunts and tech switch-ups. The music selection of Smashing Pumpkins only accentuates the overall fast pace of the section. Who else is going to go 90 miles an hour into a rail and then pull 3 switch-ups in the process? And then spin out like it's nothing? Only Alex Broskow. He skates so fast and so clean, half the time you wonder if he's going to survive the landing on all these tricks. Number 6. Aaron Feinberg, Brain Fear Gone. Ah yes, the fabled secret section in Brain Fear Gone. Mind Game was genius in naming their first video in a scrambled formation of one of the owner's names. At the time, nobody even knew Feinberg was part of Mind Game, let alone an owner. The tricks Feinberg pulls in this section are just jaw-dropping. He transfers almost every rail, he nails the craziest of drop ledges, and just dominates everything he sees. Number 5. Brian Shima, Brain Fear Gone. When people think of Brian Shima, this is the section they think of. Brian Shima was one of the original stunt skaters, killing it in the streets. Almost every trick in his section would be an ender for most other skaters' sections, but he pulled it off like it was nothing at all. His section also reintroduced the idea of cess slides, which became standard in rollerblading for the next few years. Excellent music and editing only adds to the overall presentation. Number 4. Chris Haffey, United Front. Chris Haffey's second section ever blew everyone away. Even in the beginning, Brian Shima confesses Haffey surpassed him in only 3 years of skating compared to Shima's 9. The music and editing pace presents Haffey as an unstoppable force, which is still true almost 10 years later. Jan Welsh presents Haffey the way he should be presented. His gaps are insane, his switch-ups are insane, everything about this section is insane. You gotta find this section, you need to watch it. This is the future of rollerblading, back then. Number 3, Randy Spicer, VG3. First off, I couldn't find Spicer's section for VG3, so I borrowed this from Sennett's Day of the Rope. Randy just has fun when he skates. The fact that he was 12 when he filmed this section of VG is just insane. His style at the time was flawless and his skating was fearless. I mean, the stuff you're seeing now is when he was 14. Just imagine what it was like when he was 12. It was even crazier. Number 2, John Julio, VG4. If there's one thing you need to know about John Julio, he invented every trick there is in rollerblading, or he perfected it. This section put rollerblading on the map. His style at the time was flawless, the tricks were just crazy for the time, and he just made it look effortless. As much as I hate to draw the comparison, John Julio could be considered the Tony Hawk of rollerblading. Through his constant progression and ingenious marketing, John Julio has brought rollerblading out of the dark alleys and into the mainstream. Number 1, Dustin Latimer, Brain Fear Gone. This is the one. If Julio showed the potential for tricks, Latimer pushed the limits of street skating past any known boundaries that existed. Latimer skates everything, and I mean everything. He even skates on a water fountain. His lines are so crisp, his switch-ups are so sick, and the gaps are some of the biggest ever recorded. His section Brain Fear Gone influenced rollerbladers to this day. If you include his 2 runs through Canyon del Oro High School, his section is over 8 minutes long. If there is one section out of this entire list that you definitely need to see, it's this one. Great music and great editing combined with his conversation with Coburn during his CDO lines only encapsulates Latimer's philosophy on rollerblading and his future. Well, that concludes the top 10 skating sections in rollerblading. I hope you enjoyed my little list. If you didn't, guess what? This is my opinion. You don't have to like it. You think you can do better? Go for it. Maybe you make your own top 10 list. Maybe we'll compare notes afterwards. But as of right now, this is Sam Miller signing off.